Hello again. Right, let me put my eyes on because I got a new camera and we'll discuss that on another one. So now as I'm looking at you, there's also a screen to your left. So sometimes I look at that and I'm not looking at you. So if I look as if I'm going cross-eyed, that's because I'm trying to see what you can see, which is a little bit disconcerting for me because I don't know where to look. Anyway, saying this, when I first started doing YouTube videos, I did a wet palette, was what us acrylic artists use, well, most of us use, for keeping our paint moist and stopping it air drying, because acrylic paint dries from the surface down, so it forms a skin, and when you're using things such as this, if I can find it, where's it to? There it is. Right, if you're using things like that and you put in your acrylic paint in here, it'll air dry very quickly, okay? Especially if you're in a warm room or something like that, and it'll start getting tacky. So I'm looking at that monitor again. I gotta turn it around or something. Anyway, it starts getting tacky, so it pulls, and when you try and paint with it, it dries very quick. There's nothing wrong with using these at all. I use them occasionally, but it all depends if I want to use them for specific effects. So what we tend to do, and I'm a great believer in this, and that is using a wet palette. What is a wet palette, you might ask yourself? Well, basically it's a box or a container that's got some absorbent material on the base and some greasy proof paper. Okay, now why is it grease proof paper? Well, if it's ordinary paper, it's going to absorb the paint and start peeling and flaking and start breaking up. Now grease proof paper will stop that paint from soaking in, so it just sits there on the surface type of thing. Okay, and acrylic paint doesn't like anything greasy or shiny because it won't stick to it. Can't paint a painting on glass or something like that, because it won't stick. It needs a key. It needs that little bit of porous surface to attach itself to. Anyway, I digress. So what the wet palette does, it keeps the base of the paint damp, and because it's not air drying so much because of the moisture there, it tends to stay wetter for longer. Now, in conjunction with a mister bottle. Now this is a, can you see the mist? I don't know. I'm just looking at the monitor to see if you can see the mist. There we are. It's a very fine mist. So you need to mist down the wet palette about, well, every 10 minutes, 15 minutes or something like that. Now, you can buy these things on eBay. These are really overpriced because they're specifically, they say there's a very fine mist and this is what you need to mist down your acrylic paint. No, you don't. You can get an eBay of them. I got one here somewhere and I don't know if I can find it, but we shall have a look. There we go. One went, 1 minute. Woohoo! There he went then. Oh, my dicky ticker. Anyway, you might be thinking, a bit strange tonight. No, I'm not. This is what I'm normally like, okay? And I've been a bit constrained on these YouTube videos because, I don't know, maybe because I'm a bit shy. We're all a bit shy. I'm sure we are. Anyway, what was I saying? Anyway, get the volumizer spray, okay? This is what, oh, I don't know what was in there. It's only water. This is what you can put on your hair. I don't know what women do with this. If there's any women out there, tell me what these volumizer sprays do, because I have no idea. But no, that's definitely water. Okay, I hope it's not retarded. My hair is retarded enough already. Look, can you see how far it's going back? Do you? And I got a ballpark. Did I tell you what I've noticed on these videos? Right, you don't see the back of your head. You don't see the back of your head unless you're sitting there and having your hair cut, and this bloke goes, how was that? I said, that's fine, but they never show you this bit. Look, I'm thinning out by here. This is unbelievable. Thought my head was getting a bit cold. Volumizer sprays. Okay, so yeah, work. As long as they're a very fine mist, they'll do the job. Okay, put everything back where it belongs because you know what it is next time you want it. And like my kids who work for me, they'll take something and they won't tell me where they put it, and I spend 2 hours trying to find something. Anyway, so you need to mist down your palette. Okay, let's have a look at the, you follow me? Okay, right. I have been told I'm a bit of a nutcase, so I do apologise if this is a bit much, but I do get my point across. This is my wet palette. Excuse the paint on the top, but I do tend to use the palette knife as well, so sometimes I just put the paint on there specifically to let it get sticky. It all depends on the effects you want. This little tray here, with the exception of the pencils, is what I do to pre-soak my brushes. I pre-soak my brushes in there prior to painting, because if you just use, I know there's pencils in there, so don't just fill them up with water. If you just use a brush dry, then in its nature it's going to take the moisture out of your acrylic paint. So that's loose. Anyway, one of the tips is to pre-soak your brush. Now don't let your brush sit in there for any length of time that's unnecessary, because that's going to happen and all the paint is going to flake off it and your ferrule is going to come loose. So don't do what I do what I tell you, and you'll save some brushes. Anyway, okay, so they pre-soaked, that's one little tip. The other thing is, we say we're looking at the wet palette, and all it is a plastic container, and I put some of my kitchen roll in there, and what we need to do then is get some water and soak the kitchen roll give it a little shake around, let the water flow, let it all got nice and wet. But what you need to do then is let it drain out, because you don't want it saturated, you just want it damp. So you give that a couple of seconds to get all that excess out. And what I will say to you is this is good for about a week, but really you do need to change this in about a week. Because the simple reason is, depending where you live in the world and how warm your room is, this is going to start going stale and start growing bacteria, and that's not nice, because it will go all slimy, it'll start to smell, and if you're working at home indoors, your partner's not going to be very happy if there's a smell coming from your table and you find out it's because you've got bad water in your wet palette. However, saying that, it's easy to change this. You just scrape the paint off, put it on another bit and redo it, clean it up and start again. With your greaseproof paper, once you've cut it aside, scrunch it up, put it in the water, let it soak, only a couple of seconds, and then rinse that back out. And get all the water out of it, all the moisture, as much as you can. Give it a good squeeze, and I'd always suggest you buy a good quality greaseproof paper. And then you open that back up, and we put that in position then onto our wet palette. Smoothing it down. Now I've got to get a little bit of kitchen roll and just take the surface excess off. See how much water's on that? And then, where did I put it? I got my little glass panel. Now if you can get one of these, this is a chopping board from the kitchen. Excuse the white paint, I've just been testing something. But these are ideal for mixing on. Now the acrylics do dry very rapidly on these, so you bear that in mind. However, I do like mixing on glass, and I'll stick that in the corner there, and I'll push that down in position, and I place all my colours for my palette around that I'm going to use in that particular session, and we're away to go. Now once you've got your paint on there, you can just put your lid in place and jobs are good at. So that's your wet palette, and that's all you need to do. Then every 10-15 minutes is get your mister bottle, and then you give it a little mist. Not a lot, you don't need a lot, it's just to stop that surface skin from forming on your acrylic, and you can just carry on painting. Now you'll know by experience how much water to put into it, that palette, because if you put too much in and you don't drain enough of it off, your acrylic paint will go a bit watery, right? So it won't be so thick. But don't worry about that. You can still use the paint, but it just takes a little bit longer to dry. Now, normal drying time for acrylic paint is 10-20 minutes, but I can show you different ways using retarders and flow improvers and mister bottles, and you know, I can get acrylic paint working for approximately 3 hours plus. Now if you have a look at another video I did, which is the lady with the pearl earring, I done an underpainting in gesso, acrylic gesso, and this was done outdoors on a very warm summer's day, and you can see that I was painting with this without any problems. The paint wasn't drying on me, it wasn't drying really much on the palette. So once you've mastered the drying properties of acrylic painting, you can do anything you want with it. Absolutely anything, from watercolours to oil painting styles, and it's just phenomenal. Even going to airbrushing, it's such a versatile thing. Anyway, thanks for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't already done so. If I have mentioned any products in this video, then I'm not doing it for profit, because this is I don't make money from these videos. It's purely because I enjoy doing it and passing the knowledge on to yourselves. Please leave any comments in the comment box. If you have subscribed, thank you very much. If you haven't subscribed, please check out my other YouTube channels. There are links below, and I hope you subscribe. Please let me know if there's anything you want to know, because I'm quite happy to answer your questions by video. And if you do leave a comment, I will definitely get back to you. It might take me a couple of days, but I will definitely get back to you. Thank you very much for watching, and bye-bye. Thanks for watching. Painting along in the studio with myself, Clive. Hey, if this is your first time on my channel, please check out my playlist links below. You'll go through all the acrylic painting, and also there's an airbrush site as well, which I've just started, which is phenomenal. I'm learning as I go, so you can laugh at my mistakes as well. If there's anything you want me to cover, then please leave a comment in the comment box. If you haven't already done so, please subscribe. If you have already subscribed, well, thank you very much, and we'll see you on the next episode. Bye bye.